All right, welcome back to Level 6 Math. This is Mr. C with Lesson 12 in our Saxon Math. This is place value through trillions and multi-step problems, which aren't necessarily related, so we're really covering two problems today, or two principles today. All right, so first let's look at place value. The value of where the digit of the number, such as units, tens, hundreds, etc., that's the place value. Now we use a decimal point in place value, and that indicates, we can see the place value coming to the tens, hundreds, thousands, etc. I'm going to show you a chart on that here in a sec. All right, so our number system is the value of a digit depends on its position. So if we start from left to right, this is on the, just making the number bigger. If we have just one digit, it's in the ones. If we have two digits, it's in the tens. If we have three, it's the hundreds, thousands, on up. All right, and we're going to practice that today. This is something that even adults mess up on, so it does take a lot of practice. It will make your life easier if you can quickly identify the place value and the digits or the decimal point, and so that's why we practice it. If you get good at this now, it's going to make your whole life a little bit easier. So here we have the number thousands, 123,456,789,000. And see how in my brain I had to kind of count up the digits to know that this was in the billions and this was in the millions. Again, if you get good at this now, you're going to be able to calculate that way faster than I just did. So it says, what digit is in the 10 millions place? When I think of digits, one of the easy rules of thumb is when people talk about finances, adults often say, I want to earn 6 digits, or I want to be in the 7-digit club or the 2 comma club. So 6 digits means 100,000 or greater, so it's in the 100,000s. 7 digits makes you a millionaire. So if we're looking for the 10 millions, we're going to look for 7 digits. That takes us to the millions. The 10 millions is just one more, so that's going to be our 5 here. All right? So we can just look for that. And this is just going to take practice. It's going to be hard at first. So you just count up until you find that place value. And the number 5,764,283, what is the place value of the 4? Well, the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, that's just the thousands. Okay? So the place value of 4 is the thousands. Just going to have to learn these. It's hard work. Okay? So large numbers are easy to read and write if we use commas. That's kind of true. So when we're doing big numbers, every third one, so after 3 digits, you can put a comma. That makes it easier to identify things quickly. Like earlier when I was looking at that number in the billions, seeing the number of commas made it easier for me to count up by 3s instead of each digit individually. So when you write your answers out, if you have more than 3 digits, you should be using a comma. It will make it easier for your teacher to see your work, and it'll be easier for you to identify where certain digits are. All right, so use words to write this number. I'm simply going to say it. I'm not going to write out the words today. It'd take me too long. So I'm looking 3 digits. That gets me to the thousands. This gets me to the million. So if we're looking at 7 digits, I know that's the million. So 1,024,305. And I don't have to count or say about the zeros. Those are still holding place value, but I don't say 1,024,000. You just say 1,024,000, okay? So 1,024,305. Notice how they even used a comma in the places where you'd put the comma on the number. So the 305, it has a comma before that. So that makes it easier even in writing it out to have a comma to separate every third digit. Use digits to write the number 1,250,000,000,000. All right, so now we're looking at a lot of zeros. I'm going to go ahead and show this. This makes it a little easier. When you're writing large numbers, you can sketch the pattern before. So you can say 1,000, million, billion. So you can go ahead and write that out. Then we're just going to fill in our zeros. If we know it's 250 billion, we can just come out to the millions and do 250 here, and it's just 1 trillion. So there's nothing in those two. It's just 1, 250, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So we're looking at like 9 zeros here. 10, because we've got the 9 plus the 250. That's right. The 0 on the 50 gives us that. So sometimes it's really helpful just to write that out before, especially with big numbers. Now, in the real world, you're going to be dealing with trillions and billions very infrequently, unless you have a very specific job that deals with high numbers. Usually you're going to be dealing with the tens, the hundreds, the thousands. We're not getting into the billions. Even dealing with like money and stuff, there are very few billionaires in the world. There are 0 trillionaires as of today. And so we often aren't looking at those numbers unless we're looking at huge things like the national debt in the United States is in the trillions, which is sad and embarrassing, but we're not the only country doing that. All right, now this is important. This is one of your favorite tables that we're going to cover all year long because you need to know this language. You need to know what a sum is, what a difference is, a product, and a quotient. And so if you want to copy this down, obviously it's in your book, but this is something you should be familiar with. Sum is when we add, difference is when we subtract, product is when we multiply, and quotient is when we divide. If you can remember those 4 things, it's going to make your life so much easier, and this will come up in the end of your tests. They like this language for whatever, if you're taking the RISE or the SAGE or the SAT or whatever it is that comes up for you at the end of the year, knowing what a sum is, a difference, a product, and a quotient, it is important, okay? So we're going to use that now to solve these problems. What is the difference? That would be subtraction. I'm just going to write this down here so I remember how to do it. Between the product, that's multiplication, of 6 and 4, so I'm going to multiply 6 times 4. And the sum, that's addition, of 6 and 4. So 6 plus 4, 6 multiply, and it's asking the difference. So I'm going to do difference. I'm going to put those as 2 separate things, so I'll put it in parentheses. Now I have an equation. 6 times 4 minus 6 plus 4. So I want to do order of operations first. What's in parentheses? 6 times 4 is 24. 6 plus 4 is 10. What's the difference? 24 minus 10? 14. All right? So this is where it's important to know what a product is, what a sum is, what a difference is. If you don't know this, trust me, it's going to hurt you all year long. So this is something you'll want to practice today. You'll want to reference it in the future, coming back to this lesson. So this is something you really, really, really want to nail down. Can I emphasize that a little more? This is important, okay? So we see difference, product, and sum. We rewrite it. We get the product of 6 and 4, the sum of 6 and 4, and then we're going to take the difference between those. So we're going to write it out. We find the product first, it's 24. We find the sum, it's 10. We find the difference between 24 and 10, which is 14. All right, so just as I showed that on the board. That's it for today. It's not a lot, but this is some tricky stuff. You want to learn it well, okay? So both the place value and where you order things, using your commas in the right place, and then knowing, sum, difference, product, and quotient. Those are all important things. I bet there's a song on YouTube somewhere that has to do with product, quotient, sum. Maybe we should look that up. All right, that's your assignment for today. Good luck.